Welcome to the Divine Body Align. I am your host, Vanessa Ray, and we're here today with my friend and colleague, Natalie Clack. She is an awakening guide, and I know for a few weeks I've had trouble with my sound, my audio, and it's just been kind of a learning process, just like every single thing else in life. But we're here to hang out, share some awesome information with you. This is the place to be to come home to yourself. We talk all things body and alignment, but not just body. We're embodied here, but we're not just a body. We're a spirit, we're a mental being, we're an emotional being. We're all kinds of things in the invisible realms, right? And so we're talking about how to be all these things that we are in a way that really works for us, where we're really optimizing this opportunity that is our human life here. And how do we do this? How do we do it well? How do we make it our own? How do we do it in a way that has us living the lives that we want to live? So, as mentioned, today we're here with Natalie Clack. Is it Clack or Clock?
Clack.
Clack. So Natalie also has an accent, so you're in for a treat. She is from Just Be Coaching Company in Johannesburg, South Africa. And I just want to introduce you to her. So Natalie Clack is a registered ethnomedical and ethnopsychology practitioner, practicing under the Traditional Healers Act in South Africa. She is the director, motivational mindset coach, awakening guide, energy healing channel, and executive director for the Global Chamber of Johannesburg as Just Be Coaching Company in Johannesburg, South Africa. She is a twice over single parent. She has a 24-year-old son and a 7-year-old daughter. She has survived many toxic relationships, all forms of abuse, including stalking and harassment, struggled with all angles of parenting, the corporate world, entrepreneurship, and survived unfathomable experiences of narcissistic abuse. She understands the paradigms of balancing business, parenting, and being an entrepreneur. She uses a number of tools on a daily basis to maintain a healthy mental, physical, and spiritual state, and has mastered the art of resilience in the face of any challenge. She loves to share her knowledge and skills with everybody, regardless of age, social standing, and she enjoys the interactions that are presented by networking in the global landscape we now call the business world. As an awakening guide, she encourages you to awaken to the natural way to revolutionize your life and transform your pain to power. So it is my honor to be here with this true power woman who has done all of these things and continues to. And I want to quickly share that I've had the pleasure to be with Natalie online, and in my very first call with her, she gave me a huge gift, which was channeling information from my deceased daughter, Ophelia. And it is a healing piece that has made my heart more whole. And I will just cherish you and honor that forever, Natalie, that you were able to open up and just give to me generously in that way. Natalie is truly a remarkable human being, mother, professional, and as mentioned, just such a personal piece of my own healing has come through getting to know you. And in that first hour of us being together, I was obviously in tears. and and so yeah, this is Natalie. Welcome, Natalie.
Thank you so much, Vanessa. What an awesome way to be introduced. Thank you. And it's such an honor to be
Hmm. So, your volume sounds a little low to me. Can you turn up a little bit? I'm not sure what it sounds like for, other people, but I just wanna make sure everyone can hear you well.
Okay, I'll just have to talk a bit louder because the audio on my laptop has its own
Okay.
plans.
Okay. Okay, okay. Sounds good. So, out of that amazing biography of which you talk about your professional accomplishments, but equally, and I love this, equally talking about just being human and just being not just being a mom, but being a mom. And instead of pretending like we have it all together and we haven't had challenges, like vulnerably and transparently laying it all out like, "Hey, here's all the shit that I have gone through and lived through." And I just so honor that. And I believe, I know it's true for my own journey, that that's the stuff just as much as the trainings, just as much as, professional experiences that make us good at what we do, that have us be able to serve in the way we do. Can you talk about, about that a bit in any way you wanna take that?
Okay, well, it really comes right back down to the reason behind why I have been labeled the awakening guide. Because really, life is about who you are, how you show up, and what you've been through predominantly. I mean, you can have 1,000 degrees and be standing next to someone with exactly the same degrees, but what is it that sets you apart from each other? It's how you show up, and it's how you take the knowledge and the information that you have internalized and put it into practice. Because I have met lots of people with degrees, and I'm not saying I dispute that they have a place, but I've met a lot more people that have been successful that have had no education, or for that matter, no degree maybe, and have had to learn their way to the top. I saw the 2-day filing assignment just after I had my son, and that's how I kicked off my career in corporate. It was literally an opportunity to do something for someone, and I was lucky because I walked in the door and to do my 2-day filing assignment to discover that the receptionist had lost her voice. So that opened the opportunity for me to do a 2-day for 2 weeks reception duty first, and then take on the filing assignment, which by that time had become 3 departments worth filing, and ended up giving me the opportunity to become a secretary, a junior secretary to the HR director, the marketing manager of the banking division. And just by showing up is how I got the opportunity to grow and expand myself. And it's my values and my code that I bring with to life. That's what establishes who I am and what value I offer you.
Yeah.
So really, it's about awakening to who you are in good and bad alike. Because you need to work on those weaknesses every day, but you also need to accept that they're there and that there are other people that you can team up with that can help you overcome those weaknesses, or alternatively be the stopgap. So it's really about what you eat, what you're taking in as medicine every day, and what you're thinking about, and what you're obsessing about, and how your perspective changes with regards to how you see your partner after a fight. All of these things are important. And if you're not focusing on a daily practice every day of how you're thinking, eating, and showing up, you start to slip. And that's when you end up stuck in depression and you can't pull yourself out the other side. And then you need somebody who's going to reach in and help pull you up. But what happens if you do that one step at a time each day and show up no matter what? Because that's really what I bring to the table is, as a result of my pains, my struggles, my mistakes that have led to terrible circumstances, that's how I can understand you when you fall apart. And you can't find a way to stand up and be that speaker in your business, though you've spoken millions of times before. But today's the day you can't do it. Somebody said something that triggered something else, and now you can't say a word. You can't remember your speech, you're blank. So that's really how I see life. You are who you have been molded into. And it comes from those pains, those traumas,
Yeah.
and the mistakes.
Yeah. I love that. And how do you, or, there's so many angles to go here, but however you want to answer this, you talk openly about the pains, the mistakes, the traumas, the troubles, which I think is important to not spiritually bypass, right? To go actually into it, not to hang out with it forever and make it your identity, but to admit, to look in the darkness so that it can be transformed. How have you handled some of the depths of that? So like let's say someone, either something has happened to them or it's something that they've caused and they're so angry. They're so depressed. They're so down. How would you help them like get over it, get through it, not be stuck in it and stay there?
Okay, it's really to answer that question is a number of angles, as you say. Life is a journey, and you can't just shrug off the anger. You can't just shrug off the emotional overwhelm. My main story I always speak to is my experiences of narcissistic abuse, emotional trauma, and toxic relationships. That being my niche that I provide a Facebook support group to help people. I have to speak to a recent experience. I just recently got a telephone call from the police because my narcissistic ex, even though he's managed to take my daughter from me unlawfully under a temporary care and protection order, does not leave me alone for a minute. So the police are trying to get hold of me, to harass me and harangue me, to come through and sit and speak to the prosecutor about whether they should arrest me for a criminal charge that he took out against me in 2020. And what do I do? I get this telephone call. I'm right in the middle of a Zoom meeting. I have to end my Zoom meeting with said client in as calm a way as possible, in order to answer the telephone to find out what the detective wants that's speaking to me. Now, I can't just turn around and slam the phone down on him. He's the law. And there is already a warrant for my arrest in the children's court file, which once again is unlawful, but it's there. So
Right.
if you step out of line, you don't know who's going to decide they're going to put pen to paper, stamp it, and issue the warrants. So I discovered early on in the issues with the court cases and all of the harassment and calls and the policing and the court applications that went on and on and on, and all the summonses, that I have to be kind to myself on that day, because it traumatizes me. Thankfully, now I've reached the point where it doesn't take 3 days of debilitated emotional devastation before I can pull myself out. But it does still affect me. And when I put the phone down, the first thing that happens is I burst into tears. And it's just what it is. Okay, I have tried countless times to be stronger, to not fall apart in the courtroom, to not fall apart in the corridors, to not have a panic attack when I am served or summoned or phoned or manipulated, harangued in some form, or my boundaries overstepped. But what I have discovered is that if I use the little tools and techniques that I have learned and implement in my life every day and share those with my friends, my family, my clients, that systematically I start to get stronger and build a bigger resistance, so that instead of me falling apart now in front of the police or in the courtroom in front of the people that are there, magistrates and all of their friends, in front of them anymore. I managed to sort out the situation, and then extract myself quietly. I can't say it's still working on that. And then go and just have a calm day.
Yeah. So it sounds like a real refinement of how to behave and how to manage all that you're managing in the depth of this intensity, to behave in a way that is still going to be in your best interest. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. And is there a way, or like an example or a story or a way that you can talk us through how you help your clients do that for, you know, in their own lives when they're having their own issue, um, how because of the strength and resilience that you're growing and have grown with yourself, how you're able to help them do the same in their life.
Well, it really comes down to the first most important point, and that is providing you with validation that what you're going through is too big for you, that what you're going through is not necessarily right, and what you're going through is actually destroying you in some form or other, or standing in the way of you being able to overcome an obstacle, or for that matter, just show up in your life. So it's really start at the beginning, and that is to actually sit down and look at the different things that are bugging you, and just try and do a pivot in perspective wherever you can. So you can see what truly needs your attention and what is a symptom of something that's going on in your life. That you can focus on the big chunks first, and then slowly but surely those other pieces start to also come right as you go along. So it's identifying issues and then stopping to have a look at those issues and defining that can help. You have energy healers. I mentioned energy. I can help you. What's going on with that? The being that's and possibly a being part of the world and perspective to which for all intents be what they call. So from their anger, feeling those issues, actions against you in your life. So it's little things like that that help you to understand what's going on the peripheral, so that you can get to that center that you need to find of balance. And then, I'll use a number of tools. I've got what I call my toolbox of tricks. I'm going to pull out NLP, visualizations. I'm going to help you create. I'm going to help you have a look at your goals and decide what's important. What is the life you want to create? What's going to get you out of bed every day so that you move towards that goal instead of procrastinating, getting deeper and deeper into depression. There's so many different aspects to what's going on in your life that's stopping you from being a better parent, a better business owner, or for that matter, just showing up as a better employee.
And I think that's where it starts to make sense. That's where it hits people. Like, oh, where is this actually showing up in my life? And how is it in the way?
Yeah.
Because we all want our healthy, happy lives, and sometimes we don't know why we don't have that, if we don't have that, or what's in the way, or why do I keep doing what, and it speaks to people in where it matters when we go, okay, this is in the way of you having this thing you want.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's also, in my experience, I'm a coach and I want to offer you the world, and I want to say you can have that best, awesome, most incredible life. But as much as you can have that, you still have those outside influences that come and knock on the door and try and blow your life.
Oh yeah, and I think it's nice
with your excitement and your enthusiasm to come and slam that door.
I think it's important for us coaches and healers to talk openly about that, and not, some people really portray, and maybe their life is perfect. I don't know. Mine's not, and no one I know who is also a great coach or a great healer or all of the above. Like, I think watching people work through their stuff. And obviously, if you're coaching and you're healing, it means you have some level of accessibility, capability. There's a place that you were, that you worked yourself out of. You've learned, you've grown, you have something to offer for sure. But like that continued, instead of the facade of, with a little bit with social media, and with it turns into this advertising of like, as if we're not human still, and
Yeah.
life is messy. Life is messy. It always will be. It doesn't mean we have to add to the mess or we have to respond to it in a dysfunctional way at all. In fact, that's the work. But, we will be challenged and given these certain opportunities for the rest of our lives. I mean, just being alive is a challenge. So, and just being alive is traumatizing in a lot of ways. So,
Oh, for quite a few of us.
say that again.
I said for quite a few of us.
Yeah, well, I can't think of anyone that isn't, I mean, that we're not all working on it or admitting it or, or processing it or whatever. But yeah, I mean, you can't turn on the news and not hear horrific things. I mean, this is part of the world we live in. Um, but I guess what the conversations I love are these deep, kind of gritty, like, you know, the opposite of spiritual bypassing, which is, I call myself a spiritual person just because it's a huge part of how I live my life and how I think and what I've always known to be true. Um, but that doesn't mean I'm happy all the time. That doesn't mean everything feels okay all the time. That doesn't mean I feel safe all the time. That doesn't mean, I help people in certain ways I help people with food and their body and self-acceptance and love and weight loss. That doesn't mean that I don't have issues. That doesn't mean I'm like, oh, that's never a problem for me anymore. Like it's this trajectory of continued mastery. And some moments you nail it, and other moments you go, "Oh, I need to do that better. Oh gosh, I need to do that better." Or, "Oh, this is the moment that I need help. This is the moment, like, let this be my new low." And to kind of openly share that more, is what I think is really real. I mean, it is what is,
Yeah. I think
you
that's
know?
really what shows too. Because if you can see that in the face of, well, I mean, in mine, chronic abuse from childhood to date, you can still show up. You can still be a successful entrepreneur. And you can still be that, for all intents and purposes, I consider myself a good mother. I'm not perfect. I lose my temper. I make mistakes. But I'm conscious. And
Yeah.
I'm conscious about the moment, how I act, how I react, how I show up, and working on my weaknesses every day. And if I see there's a gap in something that I'm dealing with my child, say for instance, when I had issues with education systems, or I had issues with my children not bothering to do schoolwork, or I had issues with medical fraternity trying to work out what was going on with my child when they were sick as a dog, and we couldn't get an answer for it. But being in the moment and consciously looking, researching, open to find information that will help me to be better at what it is I'm doing. That's really what life is about, is living consciously and mindful of what you say and do and how it affects somebody else.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's what you're creating for yourself. So, if we think of there's not really a difference between the other and you, that what you're creating for them is just more for you to have to deal with as well. It's whether you think of it as karma or, this person's it's just right. Like who are you being? And I love, it reminds me of the Just Be coaching. Can you talk about why you called it Just Be?
Well, the reason behind that is because if you can just find a way to just be you in this moment, just be authentically that great person that you really are, and your best self, chin up, smile on your face, best intent, values strong, ethics your foundation, then everything just be awesome. And that's what you want. Because even though you have those moments that throw you off, what happens if 90% of your life you can just be great? Because I know it's
Yeah.
possible. I managed to pull it off in the face of scary stuff that really blows my mind when I look back on it. But I can get up every day and just be my great self. And people love me for who I am because I show up authentic. I don't try and pretend because I'm not. I make mistakes. I get cross. I lose my temper. I might swear in public. I do these things. And it's just me because I'm just
Yeah.
being.
Well, and I love that because not only is it what I think we're really here to do. I mean, that's the job, is to be yourself. No one else can do it, but you can, only you can. And it's a
Yeah.
huge relief too when I sink into that more and more and more, like, oh right, I am the answer. I am my answer. I am who I'm meant to be. And that doesn't mean we don't use help. I don't read books. I don't hire a coach. I don't learn this and learn that and take tidbits from here and there, but it's all finding what resonates and serves me so that I can be my highest, most aligned, fullest expression. But it also is an instant permission giver to others and a reminder to others that there's no one else for them to be except themselves.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely. I love
Yeah.
that. Because it's
Yeah.
really the biggest issues, I think, in human relationships is our unnecessary need to put on a mask. And it takes one mistake for that mask to slip. And then the person sees you for who you are. If they could just learn to love you for who you are, straight off, warts and all, you don't have to
Yeah.
go through 90% of the trauma we put ourselves through trying to be that picture we're trying to create for others to think we are.
Well, and really the reason to wear a mask and hide is we believe we won't be lovable if we were seen for who we really were, which ironically makes us not loved for who we really are because they can't even see who we really are because we're wearing a mask. And so there's all this fear and control and like hiding and controlling and pretending because dear God, don't let the mask fall and then I'll be seen and then I won't be loved. But really, nothing I want more than is to be loved, you know? And so it's like, and that's why the permission of like, I'll take my mask down, knowing that I love myself, which is also a work in progress. It doesn't mean I love every single thing about myself. It doesn't mean I love myself every single moment. Doesn't mean that, but that it's that unconditional love that we have for our children. Like I love my daughter all the time, even when she's giving me that snarky response, which I'm not okay with. I don't withhold my love. I don't stop loving her. I just like certain things. I like her eating vegetables over that damn mac and cheese, but like that doesn't affect my love for her. And I think when we start, and this is what I think is huge in my work, is like when we get to that place where I am willing to love myself unconditionally, I'm still going to have preferences on the top. I'm still going to have preferences and
Yeah.
conditions in my life. There's conditions and boundaries and like I like this food over that food. I like this type of partner over that type of partner. I like this type of music over that type of music. But that my self-worth and my self-love, like you said, warts and all, aging and all, like my saggy boobs and my still excess weight and the things I do that are like, "Ugh, I hate it when I do that," like but I'm not willing to withhold my love from myself. And
Yeah.
that starts to give you the foundation of I'm willing to wear less of a mask, less of a pretense, less of a facade because I already know that I'm lovable and worthy. And then we feel
Yeah.
safe enough. And then being that way with other people is refreshing for them. And you remind them, just like I'm always lovable and worthy, so are you. Even if some of my preferences are, like, not for the way you are, doesn't
Yeah,
matter. You're still lovable and worthy. I mean, the president I didn't vote for him, but do I believe deep down that inside he's lovable and worthy? Absolutely, because every single person is. Even the people that have harmed me, even the people that I'm so glad I broke up with, even you know, that there's this deep human respect that I think helps us feel comfortable and safe enough to do what you said,
yeah,
which is let ourselves be seen for who we are really authentically, you
yeah,
know?
absolutely, absolutely. And like you
Um,
say, it's a journey really to get there.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I wanted to ask you, a question. You were talking about I know you have such a varied skill set. You mentioned your toolbox earlier, and I see you as a multi-passionate, multi-experienced, like multi-trainings. I mean, you got a lot, and I get that, and I feel a little bit that way myself. Um, my question to you is, can the use of consistent tools and methodologies actually serve you even when you're surrounded by like the excessive abuse, the overwhelming emotion, or severe trauma? Can you speak to that?
Definitely. Because the answer to that really is the foundation steps. If you've sat down and you've listed your goals and you've created your affirmations, my favorite latest one being my new power song that I wrote for myself,
Ah!
um, it is all about stepping up and taking those goals and integrating them into beliefs and actionable steps. So with my power song, just to show fun, it starts off with Natalie, the badass, and I'll take care of you. And why? Because my
Mm,
is to take care of not just my clients, but myself. Because if
yeah.
I take time to give myself the self care, which is something I honestly have not really done a lot, I very first and foremost, my needs out the box. I don't like conflict because of my history of domestic violence. So I normally just try and give people what they want and just let them be happy with whatever plans or choices or decisions or goals that they have in place. But I discovered that if I stop and I give myself that one long hot bath during the week, I take the time to indulge myself to play my guitar. I take the time to sit down and indulge myself in my study at least once a week. I read a book. I watch a movie without doing anything else at the same time. Please note how big that was.
Ooh.
All of these are little things that you need to integrate into your life so that you start to trust yourself and you start to learn to love and value yourself. Because until you learn to love and value yourself, how on earth are you going to attract people to do the same thing for you? Because that's the first and foremost. My issue currently, the last 2 months, has been boundaries, which require that you shake the floor and you put boundaries in place where there were none before, and people become confused. They can't
Mm,
cope with that.
yeah.
But once you're looking after your daily affirmations in the morning and in the evening, you implement a meditation wherever you can, you listen to quiet, relaxing music, so you're feeding yourself with calm tunes, as opposed to, we like to listen to love songs, but when we break up with someone, we can't cope with love songs because they depress us. Now, if you sit and you listen to the words to most of the love songs, they've all been written by somebody who's just ended a relationship or worrying about the fact that they're missing someone. But what if we were positioning ourselves with love songs that built our relationships up, put
Yeah.
boundaries in,
Yeah,
built
it's like
us?
most love songs are actually not love songs at all. They're I lost love.
Yes,
They're anti-love songs in that they're the lack of love, the longing, the desperation, the fear, the sadness. Which there's a need for those for sure. That's when I write most of my music is when I'm like really heartbroken, which has been like 20 years from now. But
same
but
problem.
I love
when you
your point. Yeah, it's not an actual love song, it's a I don't have love song.
know, yeah, exactly. So it's really what you're putting in, and if you're and eating as well. Don't get caught up eating too many of the processed goods, baked foods, oily stuff. There's nothing wrong with that as a comfort food now and then. But if you're eating healthily and you're providing yourself with all those vitamins that feed your brain, you don't end up slipping into depression as easily. And if
Right.
you're exercising every day, it's not so hard to get yourself back into it when you slip.
Right.
Because that happens when they challenge you. If you have a hectic project, just drink more coffee, sleep less, and cut your track of gymming and self-care. So
Well,
yeah, I
yeah.
really believe that.
Yeah, I love the self-care piece, and I think it's true. We see it or it's seen as like it's the last thing on a lot of people's lists. I'll get to it if I have time. Well, then you don't get to it. Um,
Yeah.
but and you talked about boundaries. It's like setting up boundaries for your self-care, like taking it really seriously, the way we take seriously, oh, I have a client, or oh, I'm picking up my child, or oh, I told so and so I'd be there. It's like, well, you told yourself you'd be there for yourself and you just flaked on yourself again. So there's this like lack of integrity and lack of respect for your own time and your own self that I think
Mhm.
is how you start respecting yourself is like being honest with your own needs and following through the way that we tend to do for other people. The other thing that you mentioned that I think is so important that I implement a lot and I'm a big proponent of is it feeling relaxing? Like we're in such a go 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 fight or flight, adrenaline, cortisol, which I tell my clients around the body, food, weight loss, that type of thing, health. It's like when your body is in that state. I mean, we're not meant to be in that state most of the time. That was a state that developed in humans to run from saber-toothed tigers and from attacking villagers, you know? And now we have it just because 'cause we're driving and just because we have to pick up the kids or just because we got an email or just because someone, like, road rage or just 'cause, like or, "Oh, I saw someone's social media post and now we're in fight or flight," and it's like it's so taxing on our bodies. And energetically, spiritually, it's just blocking. It's a very certain energy that creates more panic, more frantic energy, more frenetic energy, more issues and troubles, it creating more of itself, like in the law of attraction, as probably everyone knows who's watching this. And so, like, when we're in that state, we're creating more of that state. And what you said was like, relax, unplug, let yourself really watch a movie and not do anything else, which is when you said that, I was like, "All right." I tend one of my issues is I tend to try to be overly productive, and productive for me might look very different than what productive is for someone else, but it's hard for me to only do one thing at a time. I'll do that in meditation, but pretty much everywhere else, I'm like a multitasking freak. So even if I put a movie on to give myself, like, downtime, I'm like, "Can I read a book and watch a movie at the same time? No. Okay, I'll make a list. Oh, okay, maybe I'll ta" like, it's like, I have to, like, take myself and be like, because what motivates me is if I go back to that, like, what's my energetic state? When I'm relaxed, I'm creating homeostasis in my body. I'm giving my body the message I'm safe. I'm giving money the message I'm safe. I'm not panicked. You can come to me. Thank you. You know, I'm giving myself breath because when we're relaxing, we breathe longer and deeper. And it burns fat as fuel. That's the other thing I like to remind the people that are interested in weight loss is like your panic is not helping. You don't want to lose weight by pushing and being like a maniac. You know, if it's right for your body to release weight, you want to have it be this natural relaxing, and I think that that's the way, whether your clients are looking for relationships, whether they're looking to grow their business, whether they're looking like there's that one way, which is really force and fight and struggle. And every once in a while, there might be a need for that type of response. But then there's the other thing, which is way out of balance in the world, which is like receptivity and passivity and breath. And maybe I'm doing nothing, and letting it be easy sometimes. And like your coaching is just be, like literally just be, you know.
It is. And because, I mean, you speak to the weight loss thing. And I mean, I put weight on, but only when I'm in the most intense, hectic emotional trauma. And what if I PTSD? And I am buzzing at the top. But if we can just to just calm down and take a deep breath, and I mean, I speak to myself more than to anyone else. I can't coach people not if you don't understand that I'm not perfect. It's through these struggles that I have discovered the beautiful gems and gold nuggets of information that have helped us to move forward. And then I share this because it's really that stop, take a breath. We forget.
And everything is possible in that. That's where we're going to create things from that breath. It's like whatever you're going to do or whatever you want or whatever you have to handle, first breathe, then do it. So I want to mention, we're going to wrap up soon, but I did put your links in the chat, and those will be for all the replays as well. And those links should go to all the platforms that we're on now. But I also know that you have a gift. You have something you wanted to share with us. Can you talk about what you have for the listeners?
Well, I am a big advocate of meditation and also being a certified hypnotherapist, or I like to call it trance state therapy. I believe how important it is that you sort of focus on programming your mental health every day so that you can show up better. So my free gift is a full color transformation meditation. So I'm going to take you from the crown to the root. And I'm going to give you the opportunity to really explore each chakra. The chakra for the gifts that it brings you, for the aspects of your physiology that are related to it. How to clear at all of those things that are standing in the way of your insight, foresight, hindsight. What is the chakra in charge of? Because we tend to get blocks in our physical body as a result of experiences we have and emotions that we trap there. So my full color meditation is going to help you to release those blocks. So I strongly suggest that you do it at least once a month so that you can work through all of those chakras and start clearing them, putting extra energy in, switching them on if they're not working properly. And please email me, connect with me on my website, and let me know what shifts have happened for you, because that's super for me to see. Just with a little tool every day.
I love that. That's so exciting. I'm going to do it. And I'm putting the link to the meditation in the chat right now. So be sure and open that up and save it. Yeah, that's awesome. So good. So any parting thoughts or suggestions or things you want to share? Anything you want the people listening now and listening for the replays in the future to know, or ways they can find you? I mean, we do have your links in the chat, but anything else that you want to share?
Well, most of all, I want you to join my monthly energy healing retreat. Anything about it, it's that tools are what work. So once a month, last Thursday of the month for 3 hours, I'm going to put you in front of the top energy healers on the globe. And you're going to get to experience from the root to the crown, 20 minutes per healer, every possible form of energy modality that there is to shift you. I myself have personally, I can list what is shifted. And this is only going to be my fourth event tomorrow night, 28th, 8 p.m. GMT +2. So hop over to the social media, get your ticket and come and play, because Vanessa is going to be there tomorrow. And we have a huge up moving forward for the rest of the year too. So come and join us. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, I'm really, really, really excited. And it's a collective of healers. And I think the time is 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, if I'm correct, for us. For I'm assuming a group of people probably watching this will be Eastern Standard Time. But whatever time you're on, it's going to be amazing. I'm really excited to experience it, and I'm excited to be a part of it. So, and for the future, whether people can come to tomorrow's or not, what is the best link there in the chat for people to find out, or will all the links lead to them finding out about these awesome healing retreats that you put on?
Yes, because I post information on the event in LinkedIn and in Facebook. So those, but feel free to reach out to me, connect with me on LinkedIn. And if you want to be a healer on the event and you have a modality, even if we've had it before or you've got something fresh, yeah, connect with me on LinkedIn, send me a message, and let's hook up for a chat. I will look forward to being around all of you. It's going to be great.
Thank you so much, Natalie, for being our guest and for being a colleague and a friend of mine. I'm so excited about our collaborations. And that's going to do it for our show today. Don't forget to get your links in the chat and the link for the free meditation. And we're going to sign off of the Divine Body Align. See you next week.
Thank you.